Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're totally demystifying the revolutionary tactical mind of Jurgen Klopp. We're zeroing in on a core philosophy that honestly flips traditional football strategy completely on its head. If you've ever watched a modern, high-intensity match and just wondered how a team magically creates total chaos and major scoring opportunities out of thin air, well, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to break the whole thing down, starting with a foundational statement from Klopp himself that literally changed how the modern game is played.
Gegenpressing is the best playmaker. Okay, let's dive right into this massively bold claim. To a traditional football purist, this probably sounds completely backwards, right? I mean, we are so used to thinking of a playmaker as a specific person. You know, that one magic player on the pitch who pulls all the strings. But here, Klopp is elevating a defensive system, a collective, team-wide action, way above any individual creative midfielder. He's essentially telling us that the sheer act of hunting down the ball is actually more creative than the player who happens to have the ball at their feet.
It sounds like a total paradox, because think about it. What on earth does a gritty, aggressive defensive press actually have in common with a genius number 10 just elegantly picking out passes? Well, to understand this massive paradigm shift in the sport, we have to look really closely at how scoring opportunities are actually built on the pitch. It's not just about dominating possession. It's really about your proximity to the goal and the exact state of the opponent's defense the split second you win that ball back. Section 1. The ultimate football playmaker. Let's get into it. So, to really grasp this, you have to look at the sheer contrast in efficiency. Think about the hoops a team traditionally jumps through just to get a playmaker into a dangerous spot. You have to meticulously build up from the back, right? You're playing multiple passes, hitting channel balls, carefully maneuvering your number 10 into that perfect little pocket of space where they can finally decide whether or not to play a genius pass. It takes a ton of time, and worse, it allows the opponent to organize their defense. But gegenpressing? It bypasses that entire build-up phase. By winning the ball back high up the pitch, you are instantly close to the goal. You skip the build-up completely. The moment you win it back, you're usually just one single pass away from a massive goal-scoring opportunity, and you're doing it against a defense that is totally out of position because they thought they were the ones attacking. And you know what's amazing? This isn't just some abstract coaching theory strictly for the textbooks. It is incredibly practical. Klopp actually revealed that he used this exact logic to successfully motivate his squad right before a match against Hull City. He knew he had to show his players the why. Why do they have to completely exhaust themselves pressing so high up the pitch? Well, once the players understood that they were essentially fast-tracking their way to goal-scoring chances, the buy-in was absolute. And the result? A highly successful performance in that very game where the philosophy literally proved itself on the grass. Which brings us right to Section 2, redefining the number 10. Here's the thing. Fans, and honestly, even a lot of commentators, tend to focus entirely on the attacking glory of the number 10. We love to look at the assists, the flashy goals, the dribbling, but focusing only on that completely misses the intense, gritty defensive mechanics that Klopp absolutely demands from this role. If a player wants to step into that glamorous number 10 position in Klopp's system, they have to accept that it is fundamentally a defensive labor role first. They are literally the first line of engagement. Their job is winning that ball back to trigger the counterpress. And this perfectly sets up what Klopp calls a fluent situation. Because, let's be real, football is absolutely not a static game played on a chalkboard. When the ball is lost, boom, a fluent situation occurs. In these highly dynamic, super chaotic moments, players cannot just stand there shouting at each other to wait, until they're perfectly back in their defensive shape. That takes way too long. Instead, the absolute closest player to the ball must instantly jump out and cause problems for the opponent. It is an immediate, aggressive reaction driven entirely by proximity, not by some predetermined static formation. Moving right along to Section 3, splitting the pitch. Defending from the front like this, it's literally a masterclass in proactive problem solving, and it boils down to 4 highly specific steps. First, the attackers split the pitch. Second, they have to communicate, giving a clear sign to the rest of the team behind them, letting them know if they're forcing the play to the left or to the right. Third, based directly on that sign, the rest of the team aggressively closes the corresponding gaps. And fourth, the ultimate goal, they defend the opponent's number 6, the defensive midfielder, together. They absolutely suffocate that player so they cannot receive an easy ball and dictate the rhythm of the match. There's this fantastic quote from Klopp that sums this up perfectly. We decide how big the pitch is we have to defend. Just think about that. By proactively splitting the pitch, Klopp's attackers are actually controlling the geometry of the entire game. They are actively forcing the opponent into very predictable, confined areas. And hey, even if the opponent gets frustrated and tries to escape the pressure by just hammering a long ball from a fullback all the way across the pitch, that's totally fine. Because it's an unpredictable, low percentage pass, and Klopp's team can just react to it while the ball is literally hanging in the air. The attacking team is the one dictating the defensive reality.
But, of course, what happens when the opponent actively tries to outsmart this? That brings us to Section 4, the art of compactness. Because opponents aren't just going to roll over, right? They're going to try to bypass this insane pressure by changing their own build-up shape. So let's say an opponent decides to build up with 3 players at the back. Klopp's system instantly reacts. The entire team compresses into a flat 4-4-2 formation. Why? Well, a flat 4 creates a much closer, tighter shape in the center, which absolutely denies any breathing room for the opponent's number 6 to operate. Now, what if the opponent tries to play the ball out wide to the side? The rule is incredibly simple. The whole formation moves there together. It is all about suffocating compactness. You shift as a single connected organism to cause massive problems and win that ball back in that specific zone. Now, there's a catch. All of these hyper-specific tactics rely entirely on one absolutely crucial element, and that is timing. If your team stands really high up the pitch, but you fail to apply immediate pressure on the ball carrier, you are dead in the water. The opponent will just easily ping a long ball right over your high line, and the whole system falls apart. Because football is a continuous loop. Winning the ball transitions you instantly into the football playing phase where you attack. But the absolute second you lose it, you don't get to reset. You instantly enter a brand new defending situation that demands immediate solutions. Timing the press, maintaining total team compactness, and reacting instantly to those fluent situations we talked about, those are non-negotiable. Otherwise, you're just getting bypassed. So after seeing how gegenpressing literally engineers massive chances out of thin air, and how it turns the glamorous number 10 into this gritty, calculated defensive workhorse, we've really got to rethink modern football. It totally makes you wonder, is the era of the static, luxury creative genius officially over? When collective structure, precise geometry, and just relentless counterpressing can act as your team's most effective creator, the whole definition of what it actually means to be a playmaker has completely changed forever. It's such a fascinating evolution of the sport. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Definitely keep asking those big questions, and I'll see you in the next one.